Redwood's strength and durability represent the beauty of nature. From decking and siding to pergolas and arbors, redwood lumber, patterns, trim, and timbers elevate any space with enduring warmth and elegance. Building with redwood also benefits the environment. That's because redwood lumber is sourced from Forest Stewardship Council certified timberlands in Northern California that are growing for the future and sequestering carbon dioxide. For redwood architectural specifications, project inspiration, where to buy, and more, please visit getredwood.com. Upgrade your home's exterior with Exceed Siding by Versatex. Engineered for unmatched durability and a sleek, modern aesthetic, Exceed provides a high-performance, weather-resistant shield that outlasts traditional materials. The ultimate low-maintenance choice, Exceed's advanced polymer construction resists rotting, cracking, peeling, paint, and fading. Lightweight 16-foot boards, nail hem brackets for tight joints, and the VZD drop lock system for solid straight lines make installation faster and easier. Plus, with a built-in color cap, there's no need for routine painting. For a premium finish that stands the test of time, choose Exceed Siding by Versatex. The folks over at Danner have been building boots here in the USA for nearly a century. Their factory in Portland, Oregon, is staffed by skilled boot makers from all walks of life. They show up every day to build boots worthy of the toughest workers in America. Every tool used expertly to its fullest capacity with honor and trust. The integrity that they build with speaks for Danner's legacy of quality. Find boots built in the USA over at danner.com. We heard from Anna again. You guys remember Anna? We talked a little bit about
Anna
her
loves drywall.
Air barrier, and she insisted she did not want to use drywall. And Ian figured out 5 different ways to describe it without using the word. So that was, I didn't know if we'd ever hear from her again. So it's a delight to have you still listening, Anna. Thank you. She writes, "Hi, podcast team. Y'all are amazing. Thank you for all the questions you've answered for me so far. Here's a 4th. Associated with, but not directly about my ongoing renovation project. I'm finally installing new windows in place of horizontal single pane aluminum sliders and oddly jerry-rigged 3-sashed vertical wood frame windows. Before tackling the higher off the ground ones, I'd like to build the simple homemade scaffolding described by Mike Guertin in the December 2003, January 2004 issue of the magazine. The design specifies a 38-inch leg base with 1x6 crossbars spaced 18 inches apart. The crossbars and spacers are ripped from 1x8 boards. I'm wondering if there's something vital about having a 38-inch leg base, 36-inch crossbars, and 18-inch spacers. They fit into 6 or 12-inch boards, but 38-inch crossbars throw the material and cutlass way off. Am I missing something? Am I endangering life and limb if I build scaffolding A-frames with 36 inches crossbars and 8 and leg bases? Thanks again for the podcast, the magazine, and the website. Any one of the 3 is well worth the cost of an annual subscription, which I started 3 weeks after closing in on this project just over 3 years ago. Best wishes, Anna in Tennessee." So I first want to remind you all to be like Anna and get a Fine Homebuilding subscription or all access membership. Like I said earlier, I wasn't sure we'd hear from Anna again.
I want to encourage Anna to check out the drywall project guide on the FHB website. It's really a fantastic primer in all things drywall.
Oh, gosh.
Anna is asking about a pair of A-frame scaffolds that hold a walkboard or better, an aluminum staging plank. They look like giant sawhorses with ladder rungs that you can put the plank on, making them height adjustable. I wrote back to Anna and said, I think the dimensions are somewhat arbitrary as long as she could reach what she was trying to work on and they weren't too skinny that they would topple over. Anything, like that would be fine. What do you guys think about that? Ian, you looked ahead of the show.
I have a gut feeling that Mike Guertin probably based this on something else that he had worked with. Like, I think we talked about it before the show, the Bronco, which is a 3-legged version of this that was commercially available until, I'm assuming, OSHA said you can't use those anymore on a job site. But I got to think that there's some reason that he picked that width. But when you also think about stability and the further up you get, you want a wider base below you for something like that type of scaffolding. You could also go narrower and then put outriggers on it. It would do a similar
Or
thing
secure
for
it to
you.
the building, I would add, which is probably a good idea in any case. An RSS screw into a stud near the top on both of them, and all of a sudden you have something that is way sturdier.
Yeah.
What do you think about these things, Grant? Had you been introduced to them?
Yeah, I've been known to. I think all carpenters in their career have knocked together some temporary scaffolding of some sort to get what needs to be done. And I think, like you said, just make sure you build them well. And then I think the dimensions are fairly arbitrary, as Patrick points out. To Ian's point, the higher you go, you just want a wider base. But I would definitely recommend exactly what said is tying either outriggers or tying them back to the building. If you can tie them back to the building, you're golden. That's really the way to go with any scaffolding. So
this is a much better idea than just stacking up your Milwaukee packouts and putting a 2x12 across them.
We talked about this ahead of the show. It's laughable. They have the warning label molded into the plastic, right? Not a step. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just before you know it, Anna, you're going to be just like walking the bucket around, taping your ceiling, and you're going to be all about drywall and scaffolding. You're going to have it down.
I knew a guy one time. We were on the top of pump jacks on a 24-foot stage, and he couldn't quite reach. So he grabs a 5-gallon bucket, turns it upside down, and stands on top of the 5-gallon bucket on top of the stage. And like, man, better you than me. He was like,
everybody knows you're supposed to use a full mud bucket side up, but yeah, it's what's wrong with him.
Yeah, I think I've shared some pothotos with you guys of mine and my dad's favorite scaffolding that we use, which is the loader tractor with the hay bale spears on it, spearing one of the truck-sized bales of hay, with me standing on a 6-foot step ladder on top of the bale of hay. That's our go-to for when you really need that extra reach.
I don't think that's OSHA approved. Yeah. So it's interesting. I went to look up this article on the Fine Homebuilding website and get a link for the podcast page. And I saw a question there that had probably been there for years. And someone wanted to put the stage so it was 10 feet off the ground. And they asked about, what would the dimensions be of these horses if you wanted to make the thing 10 feet? And I don't know. I think that might be pushing your luck. But as Ian suggests, folks have... Grant has suggested you bang scaffolding together as you need to. What do you guys think, Grant?
Yeah, I think if you make it wide enough on the bottoms, the thing I would think for that is you got to watch. You better be on really flat ground, or else you're gonna have to make your legs on equal length to account for the
level the ground, something, right?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any validity to this, but when I was doing window work as a young apprentice and setting up tall ladders, I was taught to stand at the bottom of the ladder with my feet against the feet of the ladder and stick my arms out straight at chest level, and I should be able to just touch the ladder with my fingers, and that would tell you that you had it kicked out far enough.
Yeah,
it wasn't too far from the building or too close, right? It's the optimal level or angle to keep the ladder stable. I don't
know if there's any validity to that, but I've done that my entire career and have not fallen.
There is. That's actually what they teach us in the fire academy.
That makes sense. The guy that taught me that was a firefighter, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, like that's the optimal climbing angle. Now you get to an actual fire and you never, I don't know, half the time you don't throw a ladder at that angle, but you throw it how you can. But yes, that's the I can't remember off the top of my head I want to say it's like 1 to 4, I think. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's like supposed to be the optimal climbing angle to get the majority of the weight transferred into the ground and not onto the rails of the ladder, but to also keep you from tipping backwards or keeping the ladder from kicking out.
Like you just said, everyone listening to the show is like, you put the ladder at whatever angle you can, which is why pros buy 1A rated ladders, right? Because you have a lot more flexibility in making it less ideal with regard to how it's
the right kind of flexibility, not like a cheap aluminum ladder, which has a whole different kind of flexibility that some of us bigger guys
That's
have
like
no
when you
business being on.
I'm sure folks have had this happen when you're in a dodgy situation. You climb the cheap ladder and you start shaking a little bit, and it seems to amplify your movements. And yeah, it's terrifying.
You're a skinny guy, Patrick. You can be on a cheap ladder.
I always love watching the guys, the roofers, you know, and they're using either the 250 or 200-pound aluminum ladders, and there they go up the ladder with 2 or 3 bundles of shingles. It's like, yeah, okay.
And the roofing nailers slung over their shoulder.
Yeah. The thing for me that's crazy with ladders, I always get concerned about, because I've seen it happen too many times, is kicking out, the slide out. So most time if I'm working, I almost always have, and again, this maybe comes from the fire service, but you always have someone spout your ladder. And if I'm working alone, I do something to make sure either stake it in at the bottom or tie it back to the house, because I think many extension ladder accidents happen because of it sliding out. I actually saw a guy ride a stage down one time. He was on 2 ladders up. It was on a deck, and he was on a aluminum stage, and both slid out at the same time. And he rode it down like a surfboard.
Was he okay?
Yeah, for the most part.
Because the ride down on the surfboard is fine, but it's when that thing hits the ground, you're gonna fall, because it's a lot of energy. Yeah. Scary stuff. It's so easy, folks, to put the stake in the bottom of the ladder. It's so easy the first time you climb it to tie the top to a gutter bracket or something. Do that stuff.
24-inch concrete D stakes.
Just do it.
Bang them into the bottom.
Yeah. Ratchet straps I use a lot if I can. Tie it back to something on the house, or whatever you can. There's usually something there that you can make it work.
Ratchet straps are an unsung hero tool of the job site.
We should do a feature article on ratchet straps, because they're
you should.
Phenomenal. They almost have as much utility in the building industry as drywall has.
Yeah.
I'm left speechless by that comment, so I'm just going to move on.